And so from a results point of view, I focused on something that was incredibly results based. Having moved out of a digital agency that I didn't really feel like impacted the individual. I wanted to impact the individual. I wanted to give more value than ever. That's why I moved into the space, to touch lives. So I wanted to go deep. I wanted to really create an impact. And for that reason, I could charge more premium. And so when I focused on the results, in the early days, I became known and got referrals because I was delivering outcomes. Because I was so committed to get my clients results that I became known from that standpoint.
Welcome to Marketing with Vino, the edutainment business growth podcast, mixing education and entertainment to make growing your service business much more fun. Your hosts, Quinton Venter, online marketing expert, and Gabby Kowalski, creator of the Business Freedom Formula, have a glass of wine and share powerful and up-to-date strategies to help grow your service business fast.
Welcome to another amazing episode, Marketing with Vino, special guest episode. Joining us is the most amazing Gabs, and with us,
Hey,
Ryan.
All the effort was on me, and I was like, I'm going to receive the love for both angles.
So that
throwing a curveball there.
Sharing is caring, Ryan. Come on.
So we're here at Winning International HQ with Ryan. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And
Thank you for coming down.
yeah, man. So
We
flew
took
down
to
from
Melbourne for this.
Got to make this happen. Some special love. So,
You comfy now?
oh man, yes.
This couch, once you get in position, it's
I may have moved spots because I thought this was my better angle, but I think it's working because Quinton looks so much more comfortable over there.
This is my spot.
Yeah.
I think we should wrap the interview up here because the value's been so good so far. Because we're focusing on the value for you guys. All good.
Alright, so guys, the reason why we've got this awesome human being on is because we wanted to talk about leadership, and we wanted to talk about what it really takes to make it in business. You know, why is it that it's a small percentage of business owners that actually reach their freedom, reach their financial freedom, their time freedom, their impact goals? And I believe it's because they lack obsession, they lack commitment, they lack mission. And this guy here has so much of it that it literally oozes out of him. He just leaves it on the ground as he walks along.
This is the good type of oozing that I do.
This is right, it's not bad oozing. This is the oozing you want to aspire to, right? So, as you know, we don't have that many guests on the show, and I really wanted to shine some light on this amazing human because
Thank you, guys.
I met Ryan a couple of years ago, and he blew my mind. And we were sitting around talking, and I just love his soul. I love his commitment. I love the fact that from day one, he's always been impact driven. And yeah, the impact and the mission's grown, as we all do, right? But this guy is the real deal. He's got a heart of gold. He's got the action that follows through, and he's making lasting change on this planet. So we thought, what if we were to unpack his brain? Literally take his head
We've
off.
got a scalpel that's going to
Yeah,
be brought in, and
but
she's going to dig in.
That's right, but energetic, it's not real. We're going to pretend, right? We're not going to really hurt him. So don't worry. No Ryans were hurt in the making of this podcast.
Yeah. Zoe, a young interview.
Yeah, so, just to, share, I'd love you to share your story and share your story from the perspective of where were you before all of this? Because right now, Ryan runs a 7-figure company. He's making change all over the globe. And he's got an epic, beautiful team of people that get to live their passion and their purpose. And they're all driving this shit forward. And even though some would look at Ryan and go, wow, if I had that, it would be amazing. It's just his starting point, and he's got so much further to go. And so I'd love to know, where did it start? Go all the way back, way before. See, to me, there's a moment in our lives that has us move into a decision, a commitment, it has us step into a whole other identity. Please share. What's the starting point that got you to here?
Thanks, Gabs, for the beautiful intro. Thank you, Quinton.
For your thing.
For recognising her above me. I really appreciate it. So there's two kind of main phases in my life I feel that I talk about when I talk about my story. There's the before business kind of lead into becoming someone that I value and love. And then there's the second half, which is the business journey. So I'll talk about the first half first, and I'll try to rapid fire it because it can get out of hand. So first and foremost, I grew up in a family where there was a lot of love, attempt, but not much self-love from both my mum and my dad. So my dad was just full transparency, a drug dealer. Mum was an alcoholic growing up. So
in business. Your dad was in business.
He was a hustler. he was a hustler in the wrong ways. But yeah, so he loved me. He loved my sister. He loved my mum. And it's the same thing with my mum. But because they didn't love themselves, and as a result abused themselves, there was obviously a lot of discomfort, and it was a very unstable household. So naturally I developed a lot of fear, like I was an anxious kid. So I remember getting to a point, like I was always driven by achievement because I thought that was the only way I could stand out and get attention. So I was always trying to achieve. And when I was 8 years old, I was like doing sit-ups and push-ups every night and going for runs at 6 a.m. and just doing all this crazy shit when I was really young, because I was always trying to strive. Like when I was 8, I was like, I want to be a lawyer. Didn't even know what a fucking lawyer was, but I knew that it was something of esteem, and so I wanted to do something bigger. And then when I was 10 years old, there was this kid that got a scholarship to a school, which was the school I ended up going to. We definitely couldn't afford it, but I ended up getting a scholarship to Hailbury, which is a private school. And that was my mission. So from grade 4 to grade 6, before I finished primary school, my mission was to get this scholarship, and I fixated on it, and I did whatever I could to get there. And it wasn't until I just started high school when everything seemed to be going really well. It's like I was just a normal kid. It was pretty daunting. I went to high school just like normal. But then I woke up one morning and I just remember hearing like the sound of my dad's voice when he was yelling, and I was like, because that's what woke me. He was yelling into the phone. He was like, "What do you mean you're not coming back?" He was talking to my mum, and that was the start of a very weird journey in my teenage years. So I didn't see my mum for around 5 years after that because she just left. She was suicidal at the time, which I didn't know, but we found her suicide letter, and it made my dad spiral into a deep, even further into a depression because he was depressed already. So yeah, from that point forwards, I don't know, I haven't really spent much time examining it, but I lost all my confidence at that point. I was very close with my mum and I wasn't close with my dad at all, and there I was stuck with my dad, who was incredibly manipulative, incredibly disempowering. He wanted to kill himself, and so it was like a very, very uncertain time for me, and I just lost my whole identity, lost who I was, and like everything went downhill. Like I lost all my friends at school, like I didn't have any confidence to talk to girls. I didn't have it, like my grades dropped, my sport performance, like my whole identity just was shattered at that time, which really sucked. And obviously I know that's part of what shaped me to be who I am today, but I became a follower. I lost a sense of purpose. And it wasn't until about year 10 so it was about 3 to 4 years later, that I had an awakening moment, which is really, really cool, because I still had that version of me. Obviously we all have that potential in us that we want to do something massive. And I used to play golf. It was like my outlet. Sport was always my outlet. And so I'd get up early, I'd catch the public bus with my golf clubs to the local golf course. It was opposite the school I went to. And I'd practice before school. And then after school, I'd go back to the golf course and practice again. And I just practice. And there's this one guy that was probably 10 years older than me. So at this time, I'm like 15 years old, and there was a guy that was about 25. His name was David at the course, and he took an interest in me. He saw that I was feeling like shit and that I was disempowered, but he also saw that I was really driven. And so he set me a challenge one day when we were playing a comp, because I used to play competition and stuff. And he's like, if you shoot this particular score today, I'll buy you an iPod for your birthday. And for me at that time, I was like, fucking bring it on, right? And so I ended up shooting the score. And about 3 weeks later, when I went into the pro shop at the golf course, one of the staff there was like, "David left you something." And I was like, yes. Like I was waiting for it like every day. I was like, I can't wait for this iPod. And so I got it. But when I went to, check it out and put songs on it, he'd already stacked it with a bunch of songs. But it was actually, I looked at the artist, and it was Anthony Robbins.
Oh, he's a great vocalist.
He's so great. His voice is pure, and he's got the voice of an angel. It's pretty high though. It's pretty high. So I'm just like, what the fuck's this? And so I start listening, and then I go to the golf course. I see David, and I'm like, what is this? And he's like, just listen to him. Just listen to him and see what happens. And so I did. Like on the way to the golf course in the morning, I'd listen to him. After school, I'd listen to him. And I started to see a different way to look at my life. And I decided to make a change. And it was thanks to Tony. However, even though I started to change from year 10, between year 10 and year 12, I had so many anchors to who I was and how my identity was seen at school. I really didn't start thriving until I left school. I was trying so hard at school, but as soon as I left, I was like, fuck this. Like, I'm on a mission to grow, because I felt like I'd wasted that whole fucking high school. Like, I went to a great school, and I wasted a big portion of those years being a follower, not taking on board opportunities. I wish I was doing leadership and stuff. And I had my grandparents helping out with some school fees and stuff. I worked hard when I studied, because obviously between year 10 and year 12 I started to shift a bit up, but I felt like I'd wasted that whole opportunity, and I was like, I cannot fucking waste any more time. So I was like, what the hell can I do to move forwards? And I'd always been held back by fear of judgment, fear of public speaking, fear of going out there and, you know, trying to do something and failing. I was like, fuck this, I'm going out there. So I did like a public speaking course, I got into a sales job, I launched a business, started like going out clubbing by myself and just like practicing talking to girls, because socially I was pretty shit. And so I just did I even did a strip show. Like I did a male strip show. Like I was just pretending that, I just said, I was just...
So is there video footage of this strip show, Ryan?
Gabby,
We could maybe
keep your
attach.
clothes on, mate. Keep your clothes on.
Oh, I'm on because you know what, guys, we'll do our best to try and find it and add it to the end of this.
I actually tried to find anything of it, I couldn't find it myself, so unfortunately not.
We'll give it a go. We'll help you.
Anyway, you can try to do the research, just pause your business and get all your employees trying to search this thing out. So anyway, I just did everything that was outside my comfort zone. I moved to Perth as well, where I didn't know anyone except for a couple of relatives, and I had to meet new people as well. So anything I could do to go outside my comfort zone, I was like, stuff it, I'm committing to do. And it was that going outside my comfort zone that forced me to grow. And I honestly believe to this day, it's like the single fastest way to grow and develop as a person is to just list out all the shit you're afraid to do and just do it. Yeah. It's the hardest thing in the world to do, but it's what stimulates the most growth.
Can we get to some examples later on? Because
yeah,
Ryan has taken this whole mission to social media where he's actually challenged his fears, and maybe talk about that later on, how you go about that.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's something that really caught my attention when I started noticing what's happening on the social media front.
Thanks, man.
That was absolutely inspiring.
Awesome, thank you. And so that was the growth through my teenage years, and then and also the downs. And then I was like, I always wanted to be in business. I just had no idea what that meant. All you'd see is Richard Branson, and so like I'd read his book when I was young, and so in my head I was thinking, well, big serial entrepreneur, he's worth so much. That's what an entrepreneur is. It's so, in my head, my identity or my belief system was, it's fucking almost impossible to be successful in business, but I have to try. Like I have to try. And I was so scared to try, but I was like, stuff this, what can I do? And so I started cold calling tradies to sell websites, and that was my first kind of taste of business. And would spend like all day, so 8 hours a day, on the phones, just cold calling, getting rejected. Hey, this is Ryan from Enginex Australia, how you going today? Fuck off, boom, and then I was changed the script around, hey, this is Ryan from Enginex Australia, and I'm not here to fuck around, so let's get straight to the point. Oh yeah, cool. And so I'd make tweaks to the script, and I built a little 6-figure business, and that was like right after I got out of high school. And so for me, that was like my first taste of business. But I had no passion towards working with tradies. I took pride in the websites that I'd built and stuff like that, but no passion. And so I went on this huge search of what do I really want to do in business? What's the vehicle? Because I knew where I wanted to go in the long term, but what's the vehicle? And it wasn't until maybe 3 to 4 years after that, when I did this little crazy activity where I wrote out my own eulogy and like, what do I want to be remembered for when I die? And I remember there was a point there before that where I was running 5 businesses at once. I was a dating coach. I was doing this app called Mood Swing with a few other guys. I was invited into a project, and we got 100,000 new users in the first 4 weeks, which was awesome. We had the Geordie Shore crew promoting it. I had this web platform I invested everything I had into that was like a website builder for personal trainers, which was interesting. I had a digital agency as well. I had a JV set up with this other person. Like, I had all these weird, fucking crazy projects, all of which were outside my passion. So it's like I was doing everything other than what I knew that I had to do deep down. I was just scared to delve there. And it got to a point where I was like, focus is not existent right now. And finally the message for focus sunk in. So I went and focused on my digital agency. And then after doing that for a little bit, going, if you're going to be honest with yourself here, Ryan, this is not what you want to do. I wrote my own eulogy out. And that's what spurred the creation of Winning International, which is this business right now. Because I thought, well, if I get to the end of my life, I don't want to be known for someone that was successful. Success, it's great. I just want to be known as someone who touched other people's lives. Yeah. And that's what made me go, well, fuck, if this is not about me and it's about helping others, then I can put my ego to the side. I can remove the fear of judgment, because if they want to judge me, they can, but this is not about me, it's about others. And that shift from head to heart is what gave me the strength and courage to launch this business today. And that's over the last between 2.5 and 3 years, we've been growing this business, and this year we're on track to do 8 figures. We're an awesome team of 20 people here. I fucking love this business. I'm not going to change focus, put it that way.
Beautiful.
I really love that because so many business owners out there are focusing on the what and the how and not on the who, and not on the really tapping into their soul and really identifying what is your soul mission right now. By the way, I don't believe as human beings we have one mission. You could find that 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now, you're doing something complete, you're still making an impact, but you could be, God, I don't know, helping animals or helping, slavery, sex slavery, or God knows, you could be impacting anyone. You could be developing apps that...
You could pivot the way that you do it.
Yeah.
But I also believe there's still deep down...
It's still about impact.
Yeah.
It's still
there's
about
a
touching
calling,
lives.
and the way that you implement that calling can change, but there's a deep down purpose. It might be, my purpose is to love.
Yeah.
It's like deep down, my birth purpose, the reason I was put on this earth is to give love, or it's to be a role model and show others what's possible. And the way that you do that can change, but...
That's what I meant, my apologies, yes.
It's the same thing, 100%,
Here's where, some business owners go, okay, what's the thing versus what's the why? What's the mission? What is my soul? What's the ultimate outcome for my soul? So you said that, your mission is to touch lives. Let's evaluate, what really is your mission? So when you choose your mission every day, when you tap into it, get that that's how you've kind of worded it, but what is it really? Are you willing to share? What's the real legacy?
Yeah. So there's the mission for us is to change 1 billion lives, and that is by helping 100,000 coaches change 10,000 lives each. That's kind of the mission, what I'm driven to, the tangible kind of mission. But the deeper purpose, in my opinion, is that whole, I want to show other people what's possible.
Yes.
By the end of my life, I want people to be able to look at me as a role model and an example and say, cool, if I can do some of that, then if he could do that under these circumstances, then I can at least do what I'm passionate about. So stretch myself further, almost be just the person that's the punching bag, or the person that's trialing and testing and stretching further or harder so that everyone else can see what's possible. And immediately when I think of that, I think of my future kids. So that's one of the things that drives me the most in terms of leverage. Everyone's got leverage. For you, what can someone pull out with you that it'll be fuck, all right, I'll do it. For me, it's if someone says, if you don't do that, then your kids are going to see someone that's not challenging their fears, and I'll be fuck, it's done. I'll just do it instantly. That's my leverage. So for me, immediately, that being a role model and leader is coming through with my future kids and my future partner, and I want to be a role model for them, but then it extends out to the world as well.
And it's interesting, hearing what you're saying now, knowing that your greatest core self, your soul mission is to show people what's possible. Now it makes sense why Ryan went on social media and started to challenge his fears, publicly. He literally went on a tram and preached an inspirational speech and had some people loving it and some people telling him to shut up. Shut the fuck up! That's right. But why? It makes it so it all aligns. Of course you would. If your mission is to show people what's possible, then you're being the possibility you want to see in the world. And I love this.
You're the role model of it. You're leading the way. It's not just the preaching of it. You put yourself out there in a way that is uncomfortable, uncertain, and you're showing the way. That was amazing.
Well, for me, the definition of a leader, because this is about leadership, the definition of a leader is someone that leads by example. That's how I define a leader. Someone that can actually show people what's possible, because one of my favorite quotes in the world is, to know and to not do is to not know. So it's people that have knowledge, but they don't actually get it until they've done it. So you have to. I feel it's the most important thing. It's the most neglected thing as well. The other one is that everyone out there, in my definition, who are in this space of business leaders, entrepreneurs, coaches, that they want to be a leader, but then they don't see themselves as that role model. They don't operate it. I call it scam coaching. I'm that obsessed with that idea. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Doesn't mean they're a bad person. No. But it means if you want to be a coach, you've got to be willing to make the calls that other people don't have to if they're not a coach.
Absolutely. You have the advocacy of leaders, and then you have the actual leaders who are stepping up and doing it.
Yeah. And it's not meant to be easy. It's damn hard.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's worth it. You have to be willing to do that. So in my opinion, you have to lead by example.
What do you
If you want to
believe?
be a leader.
Yeah, I love that. So one of the things for you around leadership is walk your talk. You know, if you say X, do X, and if you don't do X, you've got no right saying X. Yeah. The what does leadership mean to you? Like, you know, if you
Well,
were
to be honest with you, Gab, like that for me is leadership in its entirety.
that's it.
That
there
is the
anything
most.
else you'd add to it?
There's micro thing. Like I can go and say other facets or character traits that I think a leader has.
Yeah.
But the way that I encompass a leader in my mind is someone that lives and breathes as an example. Period. But in all facets. So let's say you're an athlete. If you're a leader, then you find it because you've put in the work and you've trained hard. You find it easy to sprint 100 meters if you're Usain Bolt, which is awesome, right? That's what you do. But then if there's someone else out there that's trying to get into the, you know, they want to sprint and they want to learn to be fast. And for that other person, sprinting's hard. For Usain Bolt, it's now easy.
Yeah.
So in my belief, Usain Bolt's ability to be a leader is not by being great at 100 meters, but his ability to be a leader is to say, cool, well for me, I find it hard to be a good partner and manage my time, and I'm fucking working on that. Like I'm working on that. So you going out there saying, yeah, but it's hard for me to sprint, it's easy for you. It's like, yeah, cool, that's hard for you, but I'm tackling what's hard for me. So for me, like as a leader, I find business easy. Now that I've put in the hard work for it, I find it easy. But there's other areas of my life that I find more of a stretch, like health, for example. So nutrition, fitness. I've got a nutrition coach and I've got a fitness coach separately because I know those areas of my life are what I find harder. So it's like I need the help, but I will master that area. So if a client turns around to me and he's like, but you can sell. I'm like, cool, yeah, it's easy for me. But what's hard for me, I'm fucking doing as well.
Yeah.
So you can't turn around and tell me that you're not willing to stretch up because I'm leading by example. And you need to lead by
I
example
love
now.
that. I love that distinction, you know, because ultimately some people look at a leader and think, oh, well, they've got all their shit together. Well, no. A leader's only a leader because they are constantly stretching, they're constantly growing, they're committed to growth, they're committed not to a destination, but to, I believe, a life of growth and expansion and expanding what's possible and going beyond their thinking every day, every year, every decade.
I could not agree more with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like, just because, like, okay, so you may be awesome at selling right now, but there was a time where you weren't some of the stuff that you know. Like, I still remember in my early days, you know, like, passion got me there. I believed in the product of my first business, and I swear, like, I remember looking back 6 months later going, how the F did I get those sales?
Yeah.
Like, whoa, and I also saw how I stuffed up sales.
Yeah.
And it was blatant once the code had cracked, once the, you know, the glass shattered, so to speak.
Yeah.
The same with you. Like, yeah, you may have a natural predisposition to business and selling and marketing, but there's a whole bunch of stuff you committed to learning. Like, you know, let's look at the hours that got put into reading, learning, implementing, effing it up, and re-implementing and effing that up, and rejigging and rejigging and rejigging. So often people don't see that, but...
Yeah, 100%. I think you've touched on like the most important thing as well, which is when people go into a space, they want a result and they want it quick. In my opinion, the only way to get a fucking phenomenal outcome is to dedicate to yourself to that area for life.
Yeah.
It's like instantly.
it's
Make
never
a
done.
decision.
It's never, ever done.
Make a decision that this is what you want to do for the rest of your life and do it. So for me, I honestly don't give a shit what happens because I know I'll outwork and I know I'll grow as much as I can while I'm here. Because this is what I live for. I love the growth. I love the drive. I would die for this mission and I will die for this mission in the long term, knowing that I've loved every minute of it, but I'm not expecting to get an outcome by X date. I'm expecting to do as much as I can by X date and for the rest of my life. And when you make that decision, then no longer you're withholding the pressure of is this possible? You give up that whole fake notion of I can't do it. And for no reason, it's everything. It's a story. It's a limiting belief to say I can't do this. As soon as you drop that and say, cool, I can do as much as I can get X results by Y input, and like if I do this, then I'll achieve that. So for business, for example, if you want to make $1 million, you get a $2,000 product. You need to make 500 sales over the year. My averaged out might be like 1 or 2 sales a week, right? Or what is that? Sorry, 1 or 2 sales a day. So if you can make those sales in a day, you'll hit that goal. If you don't, then you won't. So you go, cool, how do I make, let's just over exaggerate it, 2 sales a day? How can I make it? Well, maybe I need to pitch 4 times. So if you pitch 4 times a day, you'll make your $1 million a year. If you don't, then you won't. So you go, if I need to pitch 4 times a day, how do I generate the opportunities to pitch that? Well, I might need to launch 2 marketing campaigns a day. So again, if you launch those 2 marketing campaigns per day, you'll get the 4 pitches to get the 2 sales to get the $1 million. It's in your control. But when people go in there for a short-lived kind of hope that it's going to be easy and I can easily get the goal, then they drop the logic because they're operating out of emotion. Like I feel like it's that term that's thrown around so often by people in Australia of just, come on, you got to be realistic.
Yeah.
It's the fucking dumbest phrase I've heard in my life, because the definition of the term realistic is to represent things in a way that's accurate. Accuracy is logic. When someone says be realistic, they're being emotional. So they're contradicting the term itself. It makes no fucking sense. So whenever people set a goal and they go to strive towards that goal, but then they kind of have all this self-doubt and fear, and they're coming from emotion. So you can remove that emotion by dedicating yourself to something for life, and you no longer feel it, because whether you like it or not, you're committing for the long term. So you're willing to say, I'm happy to accept the failures because I'm never going to stop.
Yeah, I love that. And that's the thing. So like, you know, the reason why we're talking today and the topic that we're talking on is because literally I've been thinking about this and I've been obsessing over this topic.
Awesome.
And, you know, the reason I've been obsessing over it is sort of really going, why do some people make it and some don't? You know, like they've got the same tools. Like I've seen people attend the same seminars, I've read the same books I've done. Like they've got my knowledge, right? Yet they're not living the life they want to. And I'm like, well, what is that? And here's where I believe it's so up here. You know, it's your view of things. Like to me, I choose my mission every friggin' day, every second of every day, right? And because I'm choosing it, I'm not, like there's no room in my head to go, am I worthy? Or, you know, can I do it? There's no, there's no space there to ask those bullshit questions because...
It's not even up here though, it's coming from here.
Love that.
So you don't feel the resistance because you're choosing your mission. Of course you're not going to feel, am I worthy or not? Because you're not thinking it's about you. You're thinking, well, it was already in me and I've chosen to access it. Whereas a lot of people feel like, I choose my mission. It's like, you were born with a mission. Fucking own that and allow it to encompass who you are. And there's no room for ego because you're not in here anymore. You're in here.
Love that.
And you live from here.
That's
which is
beautiful.
why
I
find
really
it
love
easy.
that. And guys, so I'm curious, right? Like how often do you tap into your mission? How often do you tap into your vision? How often do you tap into your why?
Man, every fucking day.
And how often throughout the day would you actually like catch yourself tapping into it?
Well, I embody it every single day in the morning. Like I started off in the morning when I do this activity we call the morning ritual. So everyone in this office goes to the park and there's like people on their way to work and stuff. We're getting grateful first and foremost, we're embodying gratitude, then we're fucking dominating what we call like the empowering section of this 3 song music anchoring exercise. So the second song is all about just going crazy. It's like letting out your inner masculine, pretty much. So you're doing exercise, you're pushing yourself past what you see is possible, you're screaming at the top of your voice, you're empowering statements at the top of your voice, proving that they are true, because they're made in opposition to what your current limiting beliefs are. So it's like, I'm not good at productivity, or I'm not productive, then you might be saying, when I say something's gonna get done, it's gonna fucking get done. So it's like the opposite of it, right? So you're just preaching this every single day. And then you're connecting to your vision and your mission and your purpose to finish it off with the third song. So I embody it in the morning, every single day.
And it stays with you for the day.
I like that as a
it's
team
in
effort
there.
as well. That the whole team.
The energy helps a lot. Everyone's in the park, everyone's doing it, they're releasing it, and it's all along the same lives.
And you haven't been arrested once yet.
Not yet.
Fantastic.
But if I don't get arrested at some point, I can tell you, I'd be very fucking surprised.
Yeah,
When it comes down to the fear challenges. But so we do that, and then throughout the day, I just check in. I just check in consciously, get grateful, and be like, fuck my life's an adventure. Fuck, I'm excited for this now, because it's my mission, I've chosen it. And everything that I do throughout the day is a representation of that adventure. So I check in, and I make sure that I'm grateful for the things that happen throughout the day, and it just keeps me present. And then when I get to the end of the day, I journal on it. So it's kind of like an opening the loop, living the loop, and then closing the loop.
Yeah, love that.
Wow, beautiful.
And this is why I wanted to share Ryan with you guys, because to me, there's not a single person I've met in my life that achieves success. Now to me, success can be achieved in 2 ways. You can achieve the runs on the board, and you can achieve the runs on the board and be blissful. For me, I want the later. I don't want the first one. I don't want to have millions of dollars in my bank account all this free time and be miserable because my life doesn't feel like it's got meaning, right?
Yeah.
Now, so this man, to me, is the number 2 and is continually growing in the number 2 way. Like he lives in that vibe, he lives in that way of existence. And every single person I've met to date that has success and is fulfilled and happy and enjoys the journey does exactly what you're talking about. They consciously intend their day. They're not on autopilot. You know, oh, great day today, I'm going to be happy. Oh, shit day today, I'm going to be sad. They're consciously waking up and intending their day. They're consciously choosing to grow. They're consciously looking at ways to stretch themselves. And every single day there's growth, and every single day there's an adventure.
Well, just to be really transparent with the guys that are watching, if I don't connect to my mission in the morning, then my day is thrown off.
So different.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's, and there are days where I miss. Like there's a day, like I have days where for whatever reason I wasn't prepared and something came in and I just did not get it fucking done. And then I live out of alignment with the purpose.
Yeah.
And the day is shit.
Yeah.
In comparison to what it could be.
Yeah.
And isn't it
So-
funny? I don't know about you, but for me, sort of my journey's taken me to a place, and just get this right. Like, if you're listening to this and you don't have a mindset practice yet, or you haven't really connected to your purpose yet, it's okay. You got to start somewhere, right? At the beginning, it might be that you find your purpose, and then you'll be on a high, and you'll live it for a week, and then you'll drop the ball, and then you'll reconnect to, not find, it's always there, but like you'll connect to it, right? Then you'll drop the ball, and 80% of this room raises their hand, just to show you the caliber of the people, right? Then they say, okay, keep your hand raised if you feel successful. 80% drop their hand. Why? Because of this. Because I believe they're not honouring this part. They're not really honouring who they are, continuously growing, committing to the fact that it's never friggin' done. Enjoying the journey, learning how to enjoy the journey even more. Like expanding that realm, like taking success and bliss and fulfillment to a whole other level. And so tell me, what is it that what happened in your life that had you decide, had you get committed, had you get obsessed with that? Because it wasn't always the case.
I think it's I honestly believe it's the intangibles that create success. So there's two big themes that I've had come up in my life that have changed the way I look at business and success. One of them was detaching away from the outcome and becoming obsessed with the input. That was like the first preliminary one that allowed me to go warrior and grow this business to 7 figures in 10 months, was all because I detached away from the outcome. I no longer gave a shit about whether a marketing campaign worked or a sales call worked or whether I got rejected or anything. I just valued myself based on what I did instead of the results that I got. So that was the first kind of major switch. And then I made a switch away from what I did to who I was. Because what happened, and the person that helped me get that switch was Jack Delosa. Yeah, Jack's on our board. He's an absolute fucking legend. He's a good friend of mine. And he created a shift in my head because we'd gotten to a point in business where we were up to doing about $80,000 a week in revenue in the business. And then we slowly started turning around and dropping. Yeah. And it was because I didn't know management, I didn't know culture, I didn't know processes, I didn't know operations in depth. And so there's those gaps in knowledge. And so what I instantly made a switch in my mind that because I had to go back and do shit I'd already done before. I'd already grown a sales team, I already had grown a sales team that was working, I'd already put in the hard yards with my sales, and I had to start doing some of this shit again. And I was like, why am I having to do this again? I've already been here. But the reason that I was giving that challenge was to grow part of who I was, which was consistency. Yeah. It was consistency, and every single challenge from that point forward that I ever have in business, I vowed to look at it not from the standpoint of what will that action give me, but what will that action develop in me. So if there's a big challenge that comes up in the business, I'm instantly thinking, fuck yeah, this is my opportunity to grow who I am. Because once you grow that, yeah, exactly. It's like with every breakdown comes a breakthrough. Yeah. And I used to look at a challenge or a change, something that came in that I didn't want, and go, fuck, like this is stopping me from doing what I have to do and achieving what I want to achieve. And I was missing the fucking point. That the reason I wasn't achieving it wasn't because I couldn't do it, because I might be able to just will myself to do something, but I wasn't the person I needed to be to receive that next level, to handle that level. So if I get knocked back and we have like a couple of people in the team quit, I wasn't ready to handle what would come as a result of them staying. Yeah. And so I've been given a little bit of feedback, because you're always getting feedback from the universe or from whoever's out there that's dictating this whole business success thing. You're getting feedback on what you still need to improve on. And if you take your mind out of, I'm not getting this, I'm not achieving this, and go, okay, who am I? Where am I at now? For the rest of my life, my sole goal is just to grow myself. Then with every challenge and every down and every breakdown, you're like, shit, that's my opportunity to develop who I am. And that's what it's about. And it makes everything so easy, because everything's a win in that case. And that's what those two big distinctions were about. It was about substituting the what I thought was a win, and then putting in what was actually the win. And so for me, the first switch, the action was the win. The second switch, the development of me was a win. Even if I didn't develop myself and someone came in and did something for me, that's a lose. Even if the business gets a win, I'm still not the person I need to be to deal with that.
Yeah.
So I've lost.
Love that. Thank you so much, by the way, because gosh, this is so generous of you. Like this is we're talking.
No worries.
Ryan has spent years and probably a small fortune on his own development, and he's sharing some of the absolute gold with you today.
And what you just did then, and what you've done this whole interview, same thing with you, is you guys live from a place of gratitude. And I appreciate that so much. If we look at all of our clients in our course, I would have never expected this to come into fruition. But when we look at, there's like a direct correlation between the clients that are the most grateful and the ones that get the most results. Like if we look at Alicia, a great example, who's gone from 0 to 7 figures in 12 months, and every week she sends me messages of gratitude. She just lives with such an amazing state of love and gratitude. And same thing like with me, I would love to be able to coach myself because I'm just always appreciative. I'm always buying gifts to my coaches and like saying thank you, always texting, saying, you know, you're so awesome. I always implement, so I always get results and then I thank them for it. So it's like that place of gratitude is what creates a phenomenal human and a successful human.
Yeah.
But it's unexpected. It's like, yeah, he's grateful, but does he do anything? Well, it's like when you're in a place of appreciation, you're living from a state that's more beautiful. And when you're in that beautiful state, it's way easier to get shit done.
Oh, for sure.
And
It's
so
a
there's this
different
weird
vibe.
correlation.
Like to me, you know, your identity, your vibe determines the reality that you friggin' live in. And
100%.
you and I could be living in the exact same like room, and your thinking will have you notice all the problems with the couch, and I'm just going to go, God, this couch's so comfy.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it's so squishy on my bottom, right? The
Is that what you'd say?
I would indeed.
It's so squishy on your bottom.
Hey, look, it's got to be said. Someone's going to say it.
It's
So
squishy on your bottom.
I'm loving this, guys. Like, oh, you've given so much gold, and there is one thing I'd really love to, like a sidebar, similar but sidebar sort of topic.
And then we'll get to one more from me as well.
Yeah? All right, cool.
I want to hear from you.
Well, you go first. How's
No,
that?
you finish
All
yours.
right, I'm
Let him
happy to
finish for the
first.
Big Bang.
Yeah, you can
Stop
bang
trying
that.
to claim all significance in this interview.
She'll return it.
Love you. So, I will be unapologetically me.
Please do. That's the Gabby we are.
So, here's where, like, one of the reasons I actually originally wanted to share Ryan with you guys, this was the first topic I wanted to speak about, and it still relates to this, it's about leadership. It's to do with content marketing, and it's to do with the fact that sometimes people get stopped because, to be honest with you, most people get stopped, I believe, in content marketing because they're afraid of what people are going to think. And first they're stopped with, I'm afraid of what my friends and my family and the people that, you know, insert whatever community here are going to think. I don't want to come across as this wanker expert. And then if they pass that, then they often get stopped by trolls and haters. That, you know, someone's like said something nasty to them, that they've posted something beautiful and there's people loving all over it, but then someone goes, you're a fucking wanker, get a real job, whatever, right? And this is a reality, right? So, why I wanted to share, why I wanted to ask you and unpack you was because you have spread a message and you've done some vulnerable shit out there, and you have copped lovers and you've copped raving fans, but you've also had the polar opposite of that come in, which are people that just think,
Who's this young schmuck?
who is this young schmuck, right? So what's the psychology behind that? You know, what is it that in that moment where people are hating up on your stuff, right? What goes on internally? What goes on in here?
I've never really had haters that have outweighed the love. So it's been hard for me to I haven't really copped hardcore criticism, so I don't feel like I've copped it very bad. I honestly don't feel like I get a lot of haters, but I don't really read all the comments, so I don't see it a lot of the time.
Okay,
So
cool.
I'm pretty unfazed, but I used to be really scared of posting on social. Like when I started this business, I was actually scared to post on social. I was scared mainly of what the people that I knew before would think of me. Not like the new people, because they don't even know who you are. You can be whoever you want. But the people you knew before saying, you're not really that person, which at the end of the day was just a lack of self-love. I was questioning whether I could really do it. So on the posts these days, or the content videos that I do these days, I get some pretty fucking hilarious haters comments. And sometimes I'll literally turn around and be like, that's actually pretty funny. Because they're just fucking hilarious. But then other times...
Share one.
Huh?
Who else laugh?
Oh, if I could go through the list, which we could do another time, do an actual like
That's
full hardcore thing on it, because I can't remember.
That's right.
don't exactly imprint it in my mind, but just to be hilarious things that is not relevant at all. But anyway, so I never really gave a shit after I was on purpose. So for me, it's like, I don't give a fuck if someone wants to judge me when I'm there to help other people, because I'm not doing it for them.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it for the wankers that are wasting I couldn't even fathom wasting a second doing like something that's not impacting my mission. So for someone to spend all their time writing a hater comment,
Watch your video and then have time to write something about
it's
it.
pretty ridiculous. So for me, I'm just thinking of the people that I'm there to help. I don't care about the haters. I'm just here to help the people from a heart-centered place that I'm here to help. And if anyone else doesn't take value from it, then don't fucking watch it. I honestly do not care. I find it very, very funny, actually.
But why though? So I'm after, like, I get that you do this and it's innate for you right now.
Yeah,
What
but
is
it's
the-
because I go out of here and I've moved into here. I'm not focusing on the ego, because the ego is the only thing that can be attacked. You can't attack someone's heart.
No.
Like if you're in a gratitude state and someone tries to put you down, it might attack your ego and you might flick up here and be like, what did you say? But you don't say, what do you say from a heart-centered place? You flick back to ego. So when you're in a heart-centered place, like for me, I'm laughing now. That's gratitude, that's heart. This is, for me, it's funny. And that I'm in my heart like right now. But if I was in a stage where I was frustrated, I'm not in this stage a lot, but if I was frustrated and I was taking it personally, that's only because I'm up here. I'm not grateful. I'm not thinking about the people I'm here to help. I'm thinking about myself. I'm thinking about up here. I'm not thinking about others. And so the big switch I made to not give a shit anymore was the whole idea, and the way that I worded it was, I'm here to share. I'm here to share. Like if I can share this value from my mission that's inbred, it's in who I am. If I can share this out and one person takes value from it, then it's fucking worth it.
Yeah.
So haters, if you're coming from this place, your heart can't accept hate. It just can't. So if you're worrying about what other people think, you're coming from here, not here. Make the switch and think about all the people in your life, not just the people that are going to watch the video, but again, come back to that role model place. Like what will your kids think of you? If you can't put up a video that's going to inspire other people, then if they want to go out and share their message with the world and do what they love, they're going to be like, well, my mom couldn't do it or my dad couldn't do it, so I can't do it.
Yeah.
So think about, from a heart-centered place, why you're doing it and who's really being impacted for positive if you do it and negative if you don't. And it's impossible not to do it.
Jay. Yeah, baby.
Awesome.
I love that you segued into the section, because that's actually how I want to go with the boom on the end.
The boom.
The boom.
The boom!
Yeah, boom! So, Ryan, you've grown this business up to 7 figures,
Yeah.
up to 8 figures. At
Yeah.
some point when you first started, you had to become known. You had to get yourself out there, and this is where this all comes from. For our viewers and our listeners, what was at what stage did you become known, that you were starting to recognize yourself as, I'm now starting to become known to my market? And specifically, how did you become known? Especially for the viewers and the listeners, what they should be taking from this so that they can become known and they can start getting more from their media, from their marketing,
Yeah.
and social media and so on.
Yeah, awesome question. So I think there's kind of like 2 main ways you can be known. At the start, I was a master at doing a lot with a little. So we'd hit 7 figures before we had 1,000 Facebook likes. And the reason that was the case was because it was going deep into value for every person. So you can go wide and you can have like a low end product that's like $19 for the product and people will get $200 worth of value, $190 worth of value. Or you can bump up your price and give people a shit ton more value. And so from a results point of view, I focused on something that was incredibly results based. Having moved out of a digital agency that I didn't really feel like impacted the individual. I wanted to impact the individual. I wanted to give more value than ever. That's why I moved into the space, to touch lives. So I wanted to go deep. I wanted to really create an impact. And for that reason, I could charge more premium. And so when I focused on the results, in the early days, I became known and got referrals because I was delivering outcomes. Because I was so committed to get my clients results that I became known from that standpoint. So it doesn't have to be from a volume point of view that you can become known in the early days.
Yeah.
It can be from a quality, not a quantity point of view. And that's what I'd say the focus should be for everyone. It's like, just start. You don't have to have this big launch. Get 1 client, get 2 clients, get 5 clients, and impact them so much that you'll become known to their friend and their other friend and their family for actually impacting them in the way that you did. That's kind of the first thing. And so I got a lot of referrals through the door in the first 12, 18 months from that and for that reason. And so at that point I was like, this is really cool to get referrals through the door, but I didn't feel known for what my definition of being known was. The second way is from an exposure point of view.
Yeah.
So now you're out there in a massive way you've got videos online, or you're getting a lot of views online. And for me, that's been a huge transition. So focusing on the strategy of viral videos or spreading ideas out there. And because we've got lots of resources, like I can put money into boost them as well. I don't just have to go, cool, I'll let it out there and I'll let it get 1,000 views or 2,000 views. You can pay to boost it out there for a lot more. So it's really cool now, because if I go into Melbourne, like I'll have people that stop me back, oh, you're Ryan from that. I've been watching your videos, which is really, really cool. And to me, like the first time that happened, I was like, what the, like that is crazy. And then now it happens all the time. Like if I ever go into the city, I'll have always one person stop me and be like, oh, I've seen your videos, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
So that was from putting myself out there in a mass volume way. And at the moment, for anyone that's watching this in this time period right now, videos are very, very hot, especially through Facebook, especially what I consider to be viral videos, and the way that I class, or the strategy even better, behind creating viral videos. It needs to be short. It needs to be, so 60 to 90 seconds is ideal, but if it's really good value, it can be, or really well made, it can be longer, it can be up to 3 minutes. So you can have a short video that is spreading an idea. It can't just be like a piece of content. It has to be spreading an idea, challenging the minds of the people that are watching, so they get a distinction with like, holy shit, this is amazing, I want to share that. Something that's unbelievable. Something that's got subtitles, because Facebook auto plays videos through people's timelines without the sound. So when you've seen it when you scroll down and then you're just like, oh cool, there's a video playing, that looks interesting, you might click it.
Yeah.
So if you've got subtitles, people can tune into the video without it actually playing the sound, which creates engagement and makes a massive difference. Having epic music is one of the main ones. So once it's on, sounds like it's not a big deal, but people engage emotionally to things that have good music behind it. Yeah, so if you can get that formula, put them out there and be willing to, because yes, you need the idea. The last point that I'll add to that is if you add creativity to it. So for example, you mentioned the tram rant, which is one of the videos that's got around 1 million views through Facebook. And yeah, I was doing a rant, and to be honest with you, it was the challenge. It was a fear challenge for me, and I thought I may as well film it. So the fear challenge for me was ran on a tram about something I'm really passionate about, try to spread a message, but don't know what the topic is until you get on there. So when I got on the tram, I didn't even know what I was going to talk about, and then I just allowed it to come through me, and I was fucking petrified, obviously, because I was speaking on a tram really loud. And yeah, filmed it, and like the message was awesome, but if the message was just me ranting with like this in the background in this office, no one would have cared, because even though the idea was interesting, it was the fact that I was on a tram that added the creativity to it.
Actually polarized it, yeah.
Yeah, it stood out for that reason, and so that's something like, holy shit, this guy's on a tram. So you need that X factor, that creativity.
Oh, I like what you're saying. Oh,
yeah. So the creativity opened people's minds to wanting to engage in it, and then they'd say, this is really cool, check this out, and the tags, or this guy's a fuckhead, or whatever the haters want to say.
Yeah.
But it got spread for that reason. So.
Cool. So if I hear you correctly, you started off just focusing on your initial tribe clients
Yes.
and focused very heavily on results.
Yeah.
Through the results, you got known, and then you
Yep.
started to acquire the resources that you could now go for
Yes.
the exposure, which is almost the opposite as what Gary Vaynerchuk is all about.
Yeah.
Where a lot of them talk about you need to just go and get exposure right now
Yep.
and start putting your content out there. Which can have its pros and its cons, but the way that you've played it out is just the way that you can, the resources can back it up.
For me, it's like, how can you get there fast? How do you get the results
Yeah.
fast? So the order is, know your structure. So know what industry you want to go into, know the business model in that industry, make sure you get a target audience that's profitable, make sure the structure's solid. The next step is market and sell. Even if you don't have the product done yet, even if you don't have the product ready, market and sell first. Get your marketing working, get your sales working, and whatever you're lacking with quality, you can make up for with your one-on-one time. So it might not be perfectly systemized yet, that's okay. Make up for it with your one-on-one time, and that's why I got my clients results, because I could afford to, because I didn't have a crazy, massive business.
Yeah.
It was small, and I could concentrate with my one-on-one time and make up for what lacked in systems in that extra attention and in that extra effort at the start. And then after you go through that period, it's like marketing, sales, drive. That gives you cash flow and resources, and you still need to drive after that before you, and for like the rules with all our clients is, you're not allowed to start systemizing and hiring until you're doing 500K. And for what that does, again, if we're thinking about who you are, you have to be a person that can be consistent and can be willing to do the things that they're going to expect people to come into the business to do.
You've been listening to Marketing with Vino. If you enjoyed this episode and want to access the resources discussed in this episode, go to marketingwithvino.com and select which episode you've listened to.